Halo has been squandered in terms of its potential over the last decade or so. An IP that used to be the cornerstone of gaming. It set trends and it was absolutely a behemoth. Halo 2, for its time, was the biggest piece of media out there. Not just video games. You want to know what followed it up? Halo 3, which was even bigger. And over the last 10 or so years, it can be kind of hard to remember just how prominent and important Halo was as an IP. It essentially made Xbox as a brand. People got the OG Xbox for Combat Evolved, for Halo 2, for Halo 2 Online. People got the 360 to finish the fight with Halo 3. Stories that engrossed the minds of generations. That built up a competitor to both Nintendo and PlayStation is a series that, in my firmest, humblest belief, you can trace one for one with the success as Xbox of a brand and the decline of it. When Halo is good, Xbox tends to be good as well. It is not as big as a brand as, say, Mario is for Nintendo, but what Mario is for Nintendo, Halo is for Xbox. It is that IP that you think of when I tell you the name Xbox or Microsoft. And looking back on it, the sheer potential this IP has been absolutely squandered. Where the biggest notoriety that the IP has going for it right now is that Halo Infinite isn't as bad as it used to be, and that Halo Season 2, the TV show, isn't as bad as Halo Season 1. This is not the verbiage or the adjectives that we should be using or associating with Halo. And it's one of those cherished IPs that can always make a comeback. I never believe in never say end. Let me rephrase that so it's actually, a sentence. I don't believe in the idea that an IP is impossible to salvage, especially when you have a world as engrossing and interesting and captivating like Halo's. It's a world rich for exploration and expansion. And while I don't believe Halo Infinite's campaign was the best in the franchise, it set up a lot of cool ideas that could be taken into the future that we just have not seen materialize. And I know there's been rumor and whisper going around for a while now that there are, I don't even think it's like rumor, I think they just said it, but don't quote me on that there are multiple Halo projects down the line. Plural, right? And I think coupled with Microsoft's continued and interesting new strategy when it comes to game exclusivity, Halo is at a precipice. It's at a fork in the road where it can either come back stronger than ever or just kind of waste and rot away in its current stagnancy. Halo has become a glorified live service where aesthetics and armor sets of old are held on the proverbial carrot on a stick to be sold back to you piecemeal or to be sold back to you for a massive premium. The soul and heart of what made Halo so special back in those days of the original Xbox and the 360 have largely come and gone, but they're not completely gone. I said largely. The embers still remain. The creativity of the experiences that can be found on Infinite's Forge mode, community-driven content, paired alongside the great work that was done with Master Chief Collection over the years. When MCC initially released, it was a cataclysmic disaster for the IP. I remember those days. I remember when either Xbox Live wouldn't work half the time, and the other half the time MCC wouldn't work, and I was unable to play the game with my friend consistently. It was a broken, buggy, incomplete abomination to be associated with Master Chief. But again, over time, and with tender love and care, that is clear to see, the game improved. More was added to it, and eventually MCC became an entity that can stand on its own 2 feet. It didn't have the best progression system in the entire world, but it's by far and away the best iteration of the Battle Pass that I've ever seen, because they're not paid. Each tier, you can choose and pick and choose what you want. Is it still a good system? No. And that's important to bear in mind. Over the years, game companies have largely normalized the idea of bad monetization and aggressive monetary policy when it comes to these games, and especially multiplayer games, where cosmetics and aesthetics are sacrificed on the altar of money, the altar of greed, where the core intrinsic experience of the game is exsanguinated for all it has, so a bare bones entity can be propped up on display to siphon off whatever money it is capable of siphoning off. Battle passes exist as a methodology in that environment. But comparatively to the rest of the industry, especially when it concerns multiplayer games, MCC maybe has a lot of issues, but in regards to his monetization, I don't think that's one of them. And with the enhancements that took place for all the games, especially when it comes to the PC version, over the years, Halo has been well preserved on the whole, at least its legacy. What about the future? Where should Halo go from here? And I think it should absolutely 100%, and in no other terms, it needs to abandon the idea of being a live service. At least a traditional one. When I heard Halo Infinite's multiplayer was going to be free to play, I predicted every issue that Infinite was going to have in regards to the monetization, because it is clear as day. They were going to utilize it as an excuse to draw upon a wealth of players so that the cosmetic progression can be sacrificed in order to be sold back to you piecemeal, whether it's through microtransactions or battle passes. That is exactly what took place, and it's still happening to this day. And as a direct result, because enough people are willing to give them enough money to support this endeavor that bears repeating, they double down. Why would you move away from something that is making you money? It's a very, very, very simple question. And I think the real question now remains, which will make them more money? Going along this current trajectory, or going back to basics and trying at least something new in regards to them? I think there's more future potential in utilizing Halo as an IP to a more effective and engaging degree than it currently is, languishing as a live service. The aesthetics of Halo are sacrosanct. They are important to the overall experience, and they've been a core intrinsic aspect to Halo as an IP since the days of Combat Evolved all those years ago. That progression, that gameplay loop, customizing your Spartan, showing it off to others and your friends, seeing someone in the lobby with Katana or Recon and being like, wow, that's really cool, I want to get that for myself. That's an important aspect of Halo. It's part of its identity, something that made it special and unique. And when you can just say, oh, that looks cool, how do I get it? Oh, $20. Okay, it loses that sheen. It loses that luster. And when you only exist as a live service, all other creative endeavors and imagination go out to pasture and waste away. All the cool spin-offs that Halo could have. And Hidden Xperia has been talking about this for a while. A Flood survival horror game, or just a Flood game overall. Expand on Halo Wars. Look at the success that Helldivers 2 is having right now, and tell me in your heart of hearts, you don't think Halo could do something equivalent with ODSTs? And all the cool, iconic locations that Halo has accumulated and built up and fleshed out over the years. You cannot tell me, you cannot reason with me that Halo couldn't do this idea, but with a unique Halo twist and have it be just as good. A stealth action game where you take control as one of those elites that we saw in Infinite, like those assassin guys, play as one of them on a stealth action conquest to like dismantle the banished or even go against the human targets. That would be cool. There's so many things you can do, and I think playable elites and the lack thereof are a prime example of the stagnancy Halo has undergone in recent years. Not even recent years, for over a decade. Once a core central aspect of the Halo experience that not everyone utilized, but it was nice having the option available to you. It showed creativity and imagination, and was just simply fun. Gone are those days, just simply to resort down to just Spartans, just so they can rip off pieces of armor and sell it back to you piecemeal, so that they can sell you color shaders for your armor sets. Do you see how this reliance on live service can hamper an IP to such an effective degree? Because in the short term, maybe live service will make money, and it clearly has. But in the long term, is the detriment that is undergoing the IP of Halo worth it? When you could expand on the idea, expand on the notion, breathe new life into Halo, make it bigger and better than ever before, and that popularity, that love, that has stood the test of time, even in the darkest moments of Halo as an IP, people have loved the series. Because we remember how good Halo can be when it's at the top, when it's firing on all cylinders. There's nothing like it in all of gaming. And I find myself going back to even do all these games, even the bad ones, the ones that I don't like Halo 5. I can go back to those games and just be happy I'm playing Halo. Halo has a charm to it unlike any other IP that I've ever experienced when it comes to video games. It has been so squandered and just neglected over the years. So many cool creative ideas just never materializing for whatever reason, right? It could be great, and I remember, well, let me find the tweet. I remember Kevin Schmidt tweeting this out in a reply. I'll leave a link to it in the description down below, but he used to be the senior lead designer on Halo for 343. Okay, he actually has quite a few different roles as well, so he was really involved with Halo. And this is the tweet he replied to someone. We must have pitched 20 to 30 game ideas over the 12 years I was there that would have totally worked in the Halo universe. Many single player and multiplayer ODST themed ones, some galaxy spanning ones, some more intimate, and one that was really dark. Now, it's important to remember, because he also tweeted this out later. Been in game dev for almost 30 years. Probably pitched well over 100 games. There are thousands of reasons they don't get made. It's rarely corpo greed or some other nefarious reason. I find it a lot about timing. Which makes sense, right? Sometimes the timing just doesn't work out, and that's fine. But the ideas are there. And this is not like to blame someone in specific, right? Because we can play the blame game for what has happened to Halo until the cows come home, right? We can do that. We have done that before. And personally, I put more blame on Microsoft than a lot of other people have in the past. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones signing off on everything. They're the final boss in this entire scenario. But Halo has so many interesting ideas that can be extrapolated on. And while they may not have flourished or prospered in the past, that doesn't mean they can't be reutilized or retooled or recontextualized for the future. And maybe, you gotta remember, 343 Industries, I bit my tongue there, is not the same 343 that we've had before. There's a lot of new blood in there. And like, maybe this is the direction they're going to go. And if so, I want to see it. Show me what you're capable of. Show me what this IP can really accomplish. Some may call it milking. I say milk away. Throw ideas at the wall. Give us traditional Halo campaigns back. Give us traditional multiplayer loops back. Give us new ideas, new just attempts at stuff that happened before. Give us ODST too. Halo is so good when it's dark, but it's also good when it's just hopeful like Halo 3. Halo is great when it has those horror themes, like in Combat Evolved in 2 and parts of 3. When Halo gets really dark with its tone and atmosphere, like Halo Reach, there are few that do it as well as that. Lone Wolf, Survive. Need I say more? Remember back in the day, this is for all the old heads out there. Remember back in the day, the hype there was for a Halo MMORPG in the style of World of Warcraft? Oh, dude, I remember Googling this thing for hours. It had so much promise because Halo as a setting is so good, because while Master Chief was a focal point of the entire experience, one of my, if not my favorite video game character of all time, Halo was more, because they managed to have an interesting cast of characters in an interesting setting with diverse environments and beautiful just themes and messaging, and was able to vary up the experience from game to game, where you could go from Combat Evolved 2, Wars 3, no particular order by the way, before someone wants to like butt actually me there, ODST to Reach. Two different styles of a dark atmosphere done brilliantly. Remember navigating New Mombasa in ODST? No other Halo game had done something like that. The closest I can think of is the open world in Infinite, but the tone is completely different. Or like those talking missions in Halo 5, but they're far more smaller in scope. They're not just you with a silenced SMG and a silenced pistol as an ODST separated from your squadron, navigating the burning nighttime streets of New Mombasa, trying to find any clue as to where your missing squad mates went, and putting all the pieces back together to find some way to save humanity at the end of that tunnel. And ODST on the whole was able to bounce between these more bombastic, camaraderie-filled moments with your ODST buddies on these different missions, to that darkened street, that horrific, somber atmosphere that New Mombasa had that it did so well. I don't want this video to come off as an indictment to the current state of Halo. I've made videos like that in the past. I feel that enough conversation has happened in regards to who's to blame, what has happened to Halo, and how have we gotten here, and how could Infinite get better. I think Halo as an IP needs to move on. It needs to expand, and it needs to be daring. to take risks. Microsoft needs great games to promote Xbox as a brand. It's clear to me that the direction that they're at least tiptoeing towards is by being more of an emphasis on being a publisher instead of necessarily just a platform, and to have that quote-unquote platform available across the scene. Maybe not right now, but you have access to the console market and the PC market. I remember the hype that there was for Halo Infinite on launch, when we all thought that Halo may be back. Because after the doldrums of the last decade before that, Halo Infinite had a lot of potential and took a lot of steps in the right direction. Now, we took those steps, now we need to run a marathon. Because we've been pushed back, the series has fallen, but it can pick itself back up and go forward. There's so many cool ideas for Halo as an IP. We shouldn't go this long without a Halo game. Where the biggest notoriety that this series has is that Halo Season 2 isn't as bad as Halo Season 1. Or that Halo Infinite is starting to become a decent game now. Halo has always been more than an FPS. Forge Mode and the community creations that accompanied it represent that better than any other spin-off. Remember all the wacky things that people made in Halo 3 and in Halo Reach? Freaking Griffball? Halo Wars may not have been the most well-received thing ever because it was an RTS on a goddamn console, but even Halo Wars has a lot of charm to it. And that is an idea, now that Halo is established on PC as well, that can be expanded on, extrapolated. Give me Halo Wars 3. Give me ODST 2. Give me another game in the style of Reach. Give us more single-player Halo games, more multiplayer games. Give me a Helldivers 2 game, but with ODSTs. Crap, make it 1-for-1 for all I care. The IP has so much untapped potential, and we can sit around and debate and languish away about the current state of Halo, but the future is always so bright for this franchise that I think that is worth exploring. And again, maybe we'll see this down the line. Maybe. I hope we do. Am I optimistic for Halo's future? No. And this is important context that needs to be said. I am not optimistic for Halo's future because time and time again, they have not given me a reason to be optimistic. That the IP can be handled correctly and in an entertaining and interesting and engaging way. To a point where it's not just going to be another glorified live service to be immediately discarded among the pile of others. But if they start showing this potential, they start showing that maybe they've learned. I don't think it's a high possibility that they will, but if they manage to tap into it, then everything can change for Halo. And I would love to see it, and I would love to be proven wrong that I am not optimistic. Make me optimistic again. Just put some effort in. And with that, I'll call the video there for the day. Thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure for making the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe, have a great day. Leave a comment down below with what spin-off you would love to see out of Halo. What idea, what wild, wacky idea would you love to see happen? Is it ODST 2? Is it something of your own imagination? Just let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts and hear your opinions and to hear your perspectives. Stay safe, have a great day. Go play some video games if you can. And as always, I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.